He had started writing screenplays and was building a team, a group of female writers, to ensure that his characters' voices, perspectives, and tones were authentic. I was excited to be part of that group. We set a meeting for Tuesday, September 10th, 1996. 3 days before that meeting, Tupac was shot in Las Vegas. He fought for his life, but ultimately lost the battle, passing away on September 13th. That meeting and countless other plans that he had in place would never happen. I and the rest of the world had lost a friend, a brother, an uncle, a nephew, a cousin, an inspiration, a leader, a soldier. And Tupac's mother, Afeni Shakur, the woman who taught him everything he knew, who spoke as vehemently as he did about hope and change, lost her only son. A few years later, Afeni asked me to write her son's life story. For me, her request was met with a mix of emotions. Of course, I was honored, but as I pondered this huge undertaking, I was also fearful. I hadn't been an A student at Tamalpais High School, nor at UCLA. I'd never been an A student, and in my mind, those were the people who went on to write biographies about leaders and figures like Tupac Amaru Shakur. The biographers I knew of had extensive experience as staff writers and editors at newspapers such as The Washington Post and The New York Times, or contributors for magazines like The New Yorker. They were often renowned historians or professors at prestigious institutions. But I was a B student. I wrote stories about love and loss and screenplays in the silly romantic comedy genre. Why was Afeni asking me? I learned it was because she trusted me. She believed I could tell her son's life story with integrity and with a fair and balanced perspective. The good and the bad, his struggles and successes, the bloopers and the blemishes. She felt the family would be comfortable sitting down with me to tell stories they had never told before. And most important, just as her son had done, she wanted to give me a chance. Tupac and Afeni were always ones to give a chance to people who might not otherwise get one. Many of Afeni's decisions during those years were made with her son's intentions in mind, and I believe that her asking me to write Tupac's life story was no exception. So in 1999, I bought an E-Machine personal computer and hunkered down in my apartment in Inglewood with a deadline less than a year away. The first thing I did was create a timeline of Tupac's life, from birth to death. I taped the 100-plus pages to my wall, transforming my apartment into Tupac land. Then I started interviewing, and typing, and interviewing, and typing, and interviewing some more. I flew cross-country and spent days in the Georgia home Tupac purchased for Afeni. I sat in her kitchen while she cooked fried chicken, one of Tupac's favorite meals, as we spent hours talking about his life. At night, we sat on her porch while she chain-smoked, alternating between Newports and weed, talking about her life. The more we talked, the more I understood how similar the two of them were. And just as with Tupac, the more I got to know Afeni, the more my admiration grew. To research the book, I spent hours on the phone with and in the living rooms of Tupac's family members. I shared endless laughter with cousin Jamala, asking her 1,000 questions while she jumped on her bed and blasted her favorite music through our chatter. I recorded childhood stories over Italian pastries at Emporio Rulli in Larkspur, and laughed with his friends at Pinky's Pizza in San Rafael, while listening to the adventures of Tupac learning to drive. I tracked down his teachers, his colleagues, and those he loved. After 8 months, endless hours of interviews, and too many late-night editing sessions to count, I turned in the manuscript. A few weeks later, I was informed that the project would be put on hold for now. I was disappointed, but when I thought about all the people I'd met and the stories I'd heard, I felt overwhelming gratitude to have been given this once-in-a-lifetime experience. Through my interviews, I had discovered the most intricate and personal details of the life of a friend, one who had come from a rich and honorable family lineage. And I knew, if given the chance, I wanted to be any part of the team that would do the work to carry on his legacy. From that moment,